Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, your friendly neighborhood reactioneer, just a guy trying to get his piece of the piece. I certainly hope you are as well. A few months ago, Leon Smith and myself, we hosted a comparison video where we took two different versions of Bridge Over Troubled Water, and it was a rip-roaring success. Everybody really loved it. They dived into it. Leon on his own channel is carrying on with the tradition of comparing two versions of the same song, especially when you throw in his expertise in the proceedings. You have something amazing. And he was nice enough to send me one of the ones he started with, Kentucky Rain, because I did happen to mention how much that song has just been totally on my consciousness lately, and so he compared two versions of it. We're going to react to these, and then we're going to hand it off to Leon to hear what he has to say. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kentucky Rain.
I got a new record that just came out, and I hope you like it. It's called, what's it called? Oh, it's called Kentucky Rain. 7 lonely days and a dozen towns ago, I reached out one night and you were gone. I don't know why you'd run, what you're running to or from. All I know is I want to bring you home. So I'm walking in the rain, thumbing for a ride on this lonely Kentucky back road. I've loved you much too long, my love's too strong to let you go. Never knowing what went wrong. Kentucky rain keeps pouring down, and up ahead's another town that I'll go walking through with the rain in my shoes, searching for you in the cold Kentucky rain, cold Kentucky rain. Tossed your photograph to some old gray-bearded men sitting on a bench outside a jewelry store. They said, yes, she's been here, but their memory wasn't clear. Was it yesterday? No, wait, the day before. Finally got a ride with a preacher man who asked, were you bound on such a cold, dark afternoon? As we drove on through the rain, as he listened, I explained, and he left me with a prayer that I'd find you. Kentucky rain keeps pouring down, and up ahead's another town that I'll go walking through with the rain in my shoes, searching for you in the cold Kentucky rain, cold Kentucky rain, oh yeah, cold Kentucky rain, oh yeah, cold Kentucky rain, oh yeah, cold Kentucky rain.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
And there was just such a steel grit to the way they performed it. It was passion filled, and it was yet there was a lot of precision into it, and it was just, to me, I felt it was very moving. I mean, and I knew what was coming. You know, of course, I've heard the studio cut many times, but when I knew it was going to kind of wind down a little before boom, and yet I was still like surprised, like it was the first time. That is the magic of Elvis Presley. Okay, we're gonna now go and listen to the second take. Let's do it.
How about a new record? just came out in the past week or so. I hope you like it.
Strings are a little louder on this one.
7 lonely days and a dozen towns ago, I reached out one night and you were gone. Don't know why you'd run, what you're running to or from. All I know is I want to bring you home. So I'm walking in the rain, thumbing forward on this lonely Kentucky back road. I've loved you much too long, my love's too strong to let you go, never knowing what went wrong. Kentucky rain keeps pouring down, and up ahead's another town that I'll be walking through with the rain in my shoes. Searching for you in the cold Kentucky rain. Oh yeah, in the cold Kentucky rain. Showed your photograph to some old gray bearded men sitting on a bench outside a general store. They said yes, she's been here, but their memory wasn't clear. Was it yesterday? No, wait, the day before. Finally caught a ride with a preacher man who asked, were you bound on such a cold, dark afternoon? As we drove on through the rain, as he listened, I explained, and he left me with a prayer that I'd find you. Kentucky rain keeps pouring down, and up ahead's another town that I'll be walking through with the rain in my shoes. Searching for you in the cold Kentucky rain. Oh yeah, in the cold Kentucky rain. Oh, in the cold Kentucky rain. Oh yeah, in the cold Kentucky rain. Help! Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, the second version, I think, I'm not trying to like act like one's great, one's, I liked them both, but I think each of them had different attributes that stood out. And I think the second one was a little more beautiful and pristine in its polished delivery. And what I liked about the second one is that you heard the background singers more prominently. The piano at the end was a lot more clear to hear and decipher, and there were some just killer drum moments at the end. Really were. Now, what I liked about the first one that didn't quite have it in the second one, when he sped it up, the Kentucky rain, it felt more thunderous. It felt more like I was just bulldozed over and the birds were just circling me because I was knocked out so heavenly. I didn't feel as much of that powerful, all-consuming punch the second time around. And so like I said, there were things I thought were better about each version, different things. And I would not trade them both for the world, loved them both. I just think that there were certain parts that shined in each they're both the same composition, but in each performance. And so that's my take on it. Let's go and hear what Leon Smith has to say.
After Elvis introduced his band members on the 26th of January 1970, which was the opening show of his second Las Vegas engagement, Elvis then went on to perform Kentucky Rain, which was the last of a mammoth 10 new songs that he introduced to his set list that night. Now, while most versions of Kentucky Rain during that engagement would include some humorous comments or lyric changes, the very first live version is one of a very few played absolutely straight. That version is also very close to the original studio master, although that would very quickly change. So later in the engagement in February 1970, so that would be about halfway through Elvis's second Las Vegas season, 𝑅𝐶𝑎 had arranged to make some live recordings. Now that was presumably to cash in on the massive success that the In Person album had been. The In Person album had of course been recorded the previous August, which was Elvis's comeback to live performing. So when 𝑅𝐶𝑎 returned up, these recordings were done as professional reel-to-reel recordings, as opposed to the soundboard recordings which we're now so used to. So soundboard recordings were of course never really intended for public release, because the point of a soundboard recording is the engineer records it on a normal cassette at the sound booth, and that's usually because there's stuff that the engineer wants to check after the show, or Elvis himself had maybe asked the show to be recorded so you can listen back to things. So most of these cassettes were either handed out to people, given away. Many of them have come into 𝑅𝐶𝑎's possession, and gradually they've started to release them through the Follow That Dream label. But because a lot of them have made their way into private collectors, they know what they have, and I don't think any money in the world would make them part with it. So there's possibly a treasure trove of Elvis concerts still out there in good quality that we probably will never hear. Anyway, I digress. So the recordings by 𝑅𝐶𝑎 took place in 9 shows through 5 consecutive nights from the 15th to the 19th of August. And segments of shows were recorded rather than complete shows, as it was likely that each particular song to be recorded had previously been arranged with Elvis beforehand. Now the exception to that rule seems to be the first show, which was the midnight show of the 15th, which was recorded almost in its entirety, and that has been officially released by Follow That Dream, and it's titled Polk Salmon. So if you can get hold of that concert, it really is a cracking listen. Anyway, so in all, and we'll leave that first show apart, there were 16 different songs recorded, and many were recorded more than once. And from those 16 different songs that were recorded, only half of them made it onto the onstage album. So to make it up to 10 songs, 𝑅𝐶𝑎 decided to complement those 8 with 2 that had been recorded the previous August. Those 2 songs being Yesterday and Runaway. Now, ironically, the song that was recorded the most, right now, and that would be in all but one of the 9 shows, is one which was omitted from the final onstage album, Kentucky Rain. Now, the second live version that you've just listened to was recorded during the second of the shows at which 𝑅𝐶𝑎 were present. That's the 16th of August dinner show. And there are a clue in there that recordings were taking place. The clue is that Elvis plays it again absolutely straight, because the norm was for him to change "Showed Your Photograph to Some Old Grey Bearded Men" to "Some Old Grey Bearded Fools," and then some laughter usually ensued. Plus, the intro to that version is also a lot smoother than many of the other live versions that you can listen to from that engagement. Now, I have to say that 16th of August dinner show one is my personal favourite version of the song, and that includes a studio master from American Sound, which Elvis recorded on February 19, 1969. Now, the studio version itself is an absolute classic and a masterpiece, so that kind of gives you an idea of what I think of that live version. Anyway, so Elvis had included in his set list for the second Las Vegas season, as I already mentioned, but there were a few tweaks that had occurred from the studio master. Firstly, there was a subtle lyric change in the chorus, because in the studio master he wrote "an up ahead, another town that I'll go walking through," but during the live version that became an up ahead, another town that I'll be walking through. So you can see the difference there. It's "I'll be walking through" rather than "I'll go walking through." But there's also a heavy percussion influence as well, both after the pause and at the chorus end at the song's finale. And what I'll say, it was Bob Lanning who was on dubs because Ronnie Tutt had missed that engagement. He'd been present in 1969, but he missed that January-February 1970 engagement. So that second version was originally released on the 1980 silver box set, which was Elvis Aaron Presley, and was a real treat at the time because live selections out with previous released concert albums were extremely rare. Nowadays, there's that many stuff comes out, live stuff comes out now. So it took until 2010 for it to reappear on another album, and it was a bonus track on the Legacy edition of the Onstage album. Now, there is a little bit of irony there, of course, because that's the original album that the recording had been intended for.
Okay, thank you very much, Leon. Hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, everybody. Go please tell your friends about Elvis and how he could be found on this channel, and also pitch Leon's channel to your friends, because Leon and I, we could use all the love we could get out there. We're working our butts off, and it's always great to see new smiling faces in addition to the friends that we have come to know and love. God bless you all. Get your piece of the peace. We'll see you all very soon.